This is Notes in the Margin, a podcast for people who are super excited about writing their non-fiction book, but perhaps, just perhaps, aren't quite doing it. If you always feel called to tile the bathroom or clean the toilet instead of writing your book, you are in the right place. Your host, Vicky Quinn Fraser, has been there, done that, and has literally written the book about it. Join Vicky and her husband Joe as they make notes in the margin about creativity, writing techniques, publishing, and general shenanigans, and get tips and tricks to help you write your book. Hello and welcome to Notes in the Margin with me, Vicky Quinn Fraser, and him,
Joe Fraser. Hello.
And also Noodle. Hi Noodle, can you say hello? Oh, he's a good boy.
He's a good lad.
So, yes, Noodle has also joined us for this morning's podcast. It's ages since we've done a podcast together.
It's been a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, I've done some repods and we've done some Zoom podcasts when you've been in a car. Mm-hmm. And I've done an interview or two, but that's for after Christmas. But yeah, we haven't really sat in my office and talked for ages.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome,
all right.
Welcome to my office.
Thanks.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a bit sick and tired of plumbing.
Oh my gosh. So we got so close to me having a bath last night. The bathtub is in. So yeah, the sinks are plumbed in. The waste doesn't leak on the sinks. We didn't think the taps leaked, but then I came down this morning and the taps had leaked. So that's really annoying. The bath taps don't leak, but the bath waste trap leaks.
Yes.
So it's still sitting up on pieces of wood and I have not yet had a bath, which is upsetting.
This is very upsetting.
It's very upsetting. So, yeah.
We're just going to spend our whole life buggering around in bathrooms, messing with plumbing.
Yeah, and I'm never going to have a bath, which is really upsetting considering how bloody much we've spent on this bath.
Most expensive bath in the world.
It's not. It's nowhere near the most expensive bath in the world. It's not.
But we didn't pop down to B&Q and buy a bath, did we?
We did not, no. It's a beautiful bath. Anyway, so, Joe, what are you reading at the moment?
I'm reading Mordew by Alex Phoebe.
That's from your reading spa, isn't it?
It's from my reading spa at Mr. B's in Bath, and it's very good.
Are you enjoying it? Yeah. What's it about?
It's mostly about a very strange world. A city, really. It's very odd. Okay. There's kind of life springing up out of the mud all over the place. Kind of life appears and then disappears, and it's all a bit squelchy and wet and rotting.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy it.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, you know what I like. Almost everything. That's not true, actually. I refused to read the Wheel of Time books.
You just got no stamina.
Because the second one, they were not good.
Well,
the first one was okay. Second one, I got a few pages into and I was like, ugh, absolutely not. I have just finished reading N.K. Jemison's Cities books, Duology, and I love it. And it's about the avatars, the embodiments of New York City and other cities around the world, but it's specifically about New York City. And they're called The City We Became and The World We Make. And they're so good. And it's just like, it's like sci-fi fantasy, I guess. And there's lots of kind of theorizing about multiverses and how multiverses might work and what happens when cities become a certain size and how they kind of become living organisms, which they kind of do. Because, you know, if you cut off a city's transport, then
it kind of dies.
It kind of dies, yeah. And so, but it's really good. It's really, really good. And it's full of really interesting social commentary as well. And it's just really very enjoyable. And I really wanted a third book, but I don't think there is a third book because I think she was finishing writing this in 2020. And I think some of the stuff that was happening in real life with Trump and the rise of the right-wing nonsense was just a little bit too close for home for what she was writing. And she was like, you know what, I just haven't really got it in me to do any more of this because it's all a bit real.
It's getting a bit real.
Yeah, which is, I understand, but it's a real shame because the books are so good. So yeah, but I've just started Cassandra Speaks by Elizabeth Lessing, which is great because it's a look at how all of our world's stories are, or certainly all of Western stories, are told by men and from a male point of view. And what would the world be like if women were the storytellers, and what kind of a human story would be told then? It would be very different. And it's I already know it's going to be like super interesting. And so yes, I'm really enjoying that. I've been reading a lot of retellings of stuff from a female point of view recently, and it's fab. It's so great. It's so much more interesting than. And I'm not saying that to be provocative, but like the male point of view is all like, oh, war, blah, the hero's journey, blah. And it's all the same. And as soon as you start telling stories from a female or a non-male point of view, everything changes and it just becomes more nuanced and more layered and more bloody interesting. So, and certainly more relevant to everybody, not just to women, but to everybody. So it's very cool. And my other non-fiction book that I'm reading, which I'm loving, is Entangled Life by Merlin Sheldrake. And it's all about fungus.
Nice. Fungi
and what they are and what they do, and how all life on Earth depends on fungus. And if we kill the fungus, we're fucked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, that's what we've been reading. Talking about how's that noodle doing?
He's very good. He's a bit of a cuddle. He's got wet feet.
So he's put them all over my floor.
Put them all over your floor, and now he's putting them all over my knee.
Yes.
But he's purring. And he's warm and he's cuddly.
Oh, he's very cuddly. He didn't get so many cuddles last night, did he? Because we had everyone round for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he doesn't like it when it's loud.
Yeah.
He likes people sitting on the sofa reading books or watching a film. He doesn't like it when there's people
being noisy. I don't know what's going on with this microphone.
Are you turning this thing the right way?
Yeah. Turning the gain up. There we go.
Hello.
I don't really understand what's going on. Sorry. Podfly, I don't know what I've done. Maybe turning the gain when it's going doesn't work.
You should do.
Well, yeah. Hopefully this will be fine. It's not like we're going to say anything useful, so.
I mean, is anybody listening anyway?
Please tell us if you're listening. So yeah, anyway, this podcast is entitled Going Through the Motions. And I just thought at the end of the year and kind of spinning wildly into a new year and all that kind of nonsense, because as we record this, it's a few days before Christmas.
Sure.
Wanted to talk about mojo. What is mojo, Joe? Mojo, Joe?
It is, I don't know, enthusiasm, it's a spark, it's getting things done, it's energy, it's...
joie de vivre.
Yeah. Enjoyment of the thing you are doing.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good, if rambling, explanation.
Okay, you go for it. Go for your concise, well-considered one.
No, I haven't got one. I wasn't being sarcastic.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were about to launch into your
no,
really succinct and accurate description.
No, because I wasn't sure how to, because mojo is one of those funny words that's just like you kind of know what it means,
right?
But defining it is difficult.
Okay.
So, well, for me anyway, I'm sure people will be listening and go, well, I know what mojo is, it's
clearly.
this. But yes, I think that was a good explanation.
Okay.
So yeah, and I just wanted to talk about that bit because I've spent quite a lot of 2022 and 2021, like post-COVID bullshit, just being a little bit bereft of mojo for everything, really. And it kind of started, well, it didn't start, I kind of noticed it with trapeze, because I'd found myself just teaching and kind of doing the bare minimum of training to be able to teach people things.
Yeah.
And really falling out of love with it for myself.
Yeah, not really in it.
Yeah. And I think the kind of crux moment came when I found myself sitting on the floor underneath my trapeze and just started crying. Because I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm crap at this. Why can't I, what's happened? I didn't really understand what had happened. And it was rubbish. And I've kind of been doing the same thing I felt like I've been doing the same thing with my writing as well.
Okay.
I've just been like calling it in and, just doing stuff because I felt like I had to. And it was a bit rubbish. And so I was just like, well, what's going on? And I think some of it was because of like the big COVID break and everybody had.
Everybody went a bit flat for a while, didn't they?
Yeah. But like after the lockdowns had finished, that wasn't really an excuse after that. It hasn't really been an excuse since early 2021 because I've had access to the studio and to training and all the rest of it. And so I'd just been like dragging myself in and going through the motions and not really getting anywhere. And same with writing as well. And so all I could see like around me was people doing really cool stuff and, creative things and, beautiful trapeze work or hoop work or whatever. And then, really great thought-provoking essays and books and things like that. And I was like, why can I not? What's wrong with me? Why can I not do this? And I was really sad. And I think eventually I figured out why, or part of the reason why. I think also I'm just tired, and that doesn't help. But I think part of the reason why was I was just doing I was always prepping for a competition with trapeze, and it was like, oh, I need to do the next big trick, and I need to do this, and I can't do this, and this hurts, and a dog has just run past the door.
A dog has just run past the door. Is it a bad dog?
Don't know. It did look kind of like Lara. I'm just going to pause this. We'll be back. So that was not the baddest dog in the village. That was an entirely different dog.
It was still running across our land, though.
Barking at us.
Yeah, it's a bit rude.
Yeah, a bit rude. It's gone now. Our postman took it with him. Our postie's so lovely. He's just the epitome of village postman.
It's lovely.
He's so nice. Anyway, yeah, so where were we?
I don't know. You were losing your mojo. You were not enjoying it. You were tired from competitions.
Yeah, and I think it took me a while to realise what was going on. But I think I was just constantly feeling like I had to prep for a competition, and like I had to do it to reach a goal or to impress somebody. And it was the same with writing. It was like I need to write this thing, to submit
because
to a competition or to be published or to be assessed for my masters. And I was like, I just it's for somebody else and for some other reason. And I just was tired of it. And so, so with my trapeze, I put myself under a lot of pressure to do these big crowd-pleasing tricks and then, try and tie them into music that would show me as like cool or arty or edgy or whatever. But that wasn't really me. I was like creating for an invisible judge and random people on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And that really doesn't work. And with my writing, I put myself under a lot of pressure to sound like people I admired and to write what I thought I should be writing as a book coach. And so I was kind of writing for my peers and my colleagues and not for my readers or for myself. Mm-hmm. And those are valid things to write for. All of those, prepping for competitions and stuff it's all good, but that can't be all you do. Like all of this big pressure to do stuff. And so as soon as I let go of that need to kind of do something good and what was expected of me and like pass the assignment or win the competition or whatever, everything really changed for the better. And it was in the trapeze. And I just put on some music that I loved, like not cool music or edgy music, just music that I loved. And just got on the trapeze and just messed around and moved. And I loved it. I spent 20 minutes just with one song on a loop, just messing around on a trapeze, and I had the most fun I'd had in ages. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I just forgot about the big showy moves, and for the first time in months, I was really pleased with the result, and I really enjoyed myself, and I just wondered what would happen if I did this with writing as well. And it was cool.
It went well. The end.
It went well. The end. Yeah. But I was like, what would happen if I let go of this need to be impressive and instead focused on kind of thinking on paper and playing with different styles and writing questionable poetry and fictionalizing some of my experiences? And what would happen basically if I said fuck the rules and did something else instead? And joy happened and fun happened, and I started getting loads of ideas, and I was like, this is what I need. And if I need more joy in my life and letting go of rules and things and doing things just because I want to for me, I bet other people need that as well. And so I started writing a little bit about that, and I don't know, just kind of thinking about permission to break the rules. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling a bit flat, then I give you permission to break the rules. Like, don't write stuff for everybody else. Just write whatever the hell you want for you, and let it be shit if it wants to be.
If you're not having that much fun in your business, you could figure out, just do something that maybe not be so profitable, but is fun.
Yeah.
Or good.
or good for the world, or it's like one of the best things that you can do if you're feeling a bit flat is like do something for somebody else. Like with no other agenda. I mean, your agenda can be to make you feel good as well. I don't hold with this idea that altruism has to be 100% altruism. It's fine if you get something out of it as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you selfish or bad. But yeah, just like do something for somebody else and do something just for you as well. That's okay too. I think we forget that, we're always bombarded by, it needs to be totally selfless all the time. Nah, fuck that.
You're allowed to play.
Yeah, you're allowed to play. You're allowed to do stuff just for fun. Do you ever lose your mojo with stuff?
I get pretty flat with work sometimes.
What do you do to unflatten? Bang heads together.
Yeah, strangle dudes.
Fight with taps.
Yeah.
No, that makes you flat.
I'm pretty bored of plumbing now, to be honest.
I'm bored of plumbing too. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a plumber. There just seems to be a lot of putting things together optimistically and then discovering that it doesn't work.
I don't know though, because we were talking about this last night, and if I was a plumber and that was my job, I would be fine with that because it's like, here's a problem to solve, and that's really interesting, and why is this not working, and blah blah blah. But because it's our bathroom, I'm like, I just want to have a fucking bath, dude. I just want to have a bath. It's like, I'm done solving problems. This is now boring. I want to have a bath. Oh my God. And the other thing that happened last night, we had a miniature horror movie in our bathroom because like our house is super spidery, right? And I was like, is that a spider leg in the bath? And it was a spider leg in the bath. And so I picked it out because we're obviously running the taps intermittently. And then I turned the taps on again and more spider parts fell out. And I was like, what the actual fuck is happening? And I was like, I don't like it. And so we kind of turned it off again. And then we were like fiddling around with the waste trap. And then we turned it on again. And then a spider torso came out. And I was like, I hate everything. I hate everything. I hate all of this. And I feel really guilty. And obviously a spider has crawled into the new taps. And then I really hope it was dead and we didn't like kill it with hot water.
I mean, you got to hope it's not actually like in the plumbing.
Why?
Well, I mean, was it
coming out? Endless spider parts.
Was it coming out of the cold tap? Was it coming out of the hot tap?
I'm pretty sure it was coming out of the hot tap.
I mean, that's good news because if we were running a different tap, could it have come out of a different? Could have gone into the kettle or something.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not at all happy about any of this. Like,
let's just say it was coming out of the hot tap.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Vicky is now looking really unhappy with everything.
I am really unhappy with a lot of things right now.
But I mean, maybe it just climbed into the tap before the tap was put onto the pipe.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
Oh, God. I'm thinking so many thoughts now. I don't like any of them. Also hungry. But not because of the spider. I feel really guilty. I'm really sorry, spiders. I like spiders. But not falling to bits in my taps. It's very windy. Anyway, where were we? How do you sort your mojo problems out?
I abandon the project I'm working on to somebody else and go and start a new one.
Okay, it's not the motivational speech I was hoping for, but it's a speech.
It's a strategy.
I mean,
I'm not a finisher. I like starting things. I don't like finishing things. I like figuring out how to make it work, not spend months on site making it work.
Yeah. I struggle to start and finish things, which is somewhat of a problem.
I know, I'm great at starting, terrible at finishing.
Actually, I start a lot of things and then abandon them all, don't I? All at once.
You do.
Yeah. Well, that's, if it's something that you're bored of, though, abandon it for a while. You don't have to give it to somebody else, but like walk away from it for a bit until... Because I do that with stuff, and then I'll come back to it like months later sometimes and be like, oh, this thing's cool. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, my work's different though to yours. I like building a system that can inspect, car engines, and I'll be like, yeah, this is cool, and I'll design it and build it and make it work on the first engine. But then Ford will go, oh yeah, we got 600 different types of engine that need inspecting.
Other car manufacturers are available.
Yeah, Jaguar, Aston Martin.
Fancy
Nissan,
expensive ones. Oh, that's not.
Toyota, whoever. Anyway, so yeah, when the 600 engines need configuring, I'm like, yeah, that's someone else's job.
Cool. Yeah, you've done it now.
I've done it. I've done one.
Done one.
Figured it all out. Done one.
Yeah.
Someone else's issue.
Cool. Okay, so I guess I was thinking this is a bit of a ramble really, but
It's a bit of a ramble.
But I just wanted to, because people do feel a bit flat at this time of year as well quite often.
It's dark, isn't it? It's dark by 3 o'clock. It's not really light now. It's 9:30.
Quarter to 10.
Quarter to 10. It's not really light. It's going to be dark in a couple of hours again.
Yeah, it's we do get sad when there's not enough daylight. But yeah, if you're feeling a bit flat, then I just wanted to, let you know that you're not alone. It happens. And we can't be like 100% enthusiastic about everything all the time. That's not realistic or healthy.
No.
And so, if you are feeling a bit miserable, then that's okay. And if you're struggling with your mojo in whatever you're writing or working on, that's okay too. But there is stuff that you can do about that. And one of the things is fucking play more. We were talking about this yesterday in the car, weren't we? And about the problems with recruitment But I don't know how much to say now because it's your business. You say it.
So we struggle to, in the past, where one of the things I look for in people who are applying for a job with me is I like them to demonstrate making decisions and having an effect on the world and doing stuff.
Give us a couple of examples of people you've chosen who have been great.
One of the people who's been great didn't like his first degree results and put himself through university a second time by being a bouncer in a dodgy northern town. So he's like afraid of nothing, determined to make things work and puts plans in action and does stuff.
He's such a nice guy.
He's such a good guy. And he's a great engineer because nothing phases him. He puts plans in action and he implements them. Another guy put himself through university by servicing all his mates' cars.
Yeah, and not a trained mechanic.
Not a trained mechanic, just serviced all his mates' cars.
Work things out.
And that's somebody who makes decisions, figures shit out, and makes it work.
Doesn't need an instruction manual necessarily.
Yeah, that's great. Because we see hundreds of CVs of people who've done all the same courses, and they just turn up and they're like, "Hello, I would like a job," and they're all the same.
Yeah.
So I want to see somebody who's done something, changed something.
Tell them about who was it who liked coffee?
Oh yeah, one of the lads liked coffee and was dissatisfied with the coffee machines available to him. So he bought some copper tube on eBay, he got himself a soldering iron and started making coffee machines.
He built his own coffee
machines in his shed.
Which is so cool.
And he went through several iterations of building his own coffee machines and finished up with exactly the coffee he wanted. That's a bloody engineer. It doesn't matter what qualifications he's got, that's an engineer.
Yeah, and so we were having this big conversation yesterday because, and I will dig that article out for you. So I remember reading an article about NASA and how they really struggle these days to find people like in the 40s, 50s, I think it was, when the Jet Propulsion Laboratory started. That started because these scientists accidentally blew up their lab trying to make better jet fuel. And instead of kind of yelling at them and firing them, they were like, that's interesting. And they put them way far away from everybody else.
Built them a new building.
Built them a new building. It was a bit more explosion proof. And the Jet Propulsion Laboratory was born. And this is just because they want people who are messing around. Like they mess around with stuff. They tinker with stuff. Yeah, sometimes it's dangerous. Like accidentally blowing up your lab is not ideal. But now we've got, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which has not only put people on the moon and, sent stuff to Mars, but has also had a massive effect on life on Earth as well.
Yeah.
So they do all kinds of stuff. And they are struggling to find people now because they are just getting loads of graduates who have been churned out of the education system, not being shown how to think, but being told what to think and what to do and how to, look up answers, but not really any of the other stuff. And they were wondering, why is this happening, and so they did a bit of a study into this, and they found that the few candidates that they are getting and the older candidates who were perfect for NASA had been tinkerers. They had they had built their own radios and
they built go-karts as 6-year-olds, and they messed around in sheds and fixed cars and
taken things apart and put them back together again and done stuff with their hands. That was a big thing. It was like, it wasn't even necessarily electronic stuff. It was like done stuff with their hands.
Yeah.
And so people who had built their own bits and pieces, and like, for example, you and I were like, oh, we've got this jackdaw problem. So you built a jackdaw house just out of shit that we had lying around, which is very low tech, but it's like, most people would go and buy a jackdaw house from the internet or whatever. And it was like, no, we've got loads of shit lying around. Let's just make something. And so that's the difference. And I don't really know what the answer is, but definitely the answer isn't just like shoving children through school, being told how to think.
Encourage kids to make things.
Yeah, it's like even
break things.
Me, when I'm not particularly I'm not engineering at all, but I remember like poking around in car engines with my dad when I was little, and like learning the basics of how stuff worked and being interested in, engines and bits and pieces and building model aeroplanes and stuff like that. So, and all of this, like swinging it back around to mojo again, it's like it's all playing. It's all just playing with stuff and not worrying about breaking things, not worrying about getting into trouble or doing it wrong. This is like another thing that I think you've noticed with some of the people that have come to work for you. It's like they are like, oh, well, how do I do this? So just go and play with it.
I don't know how to do this thing.
And they're worried about, I think some of that probably comes from being worried about getting it wrong, like inverted commas, getting it wrong, because we talked about this before, but in our Western schools, it's like, nobody puts their hands up. So what if I get the answer wrong and look stupid? Whereas if you go to Japan, you put your hand up and get it wrong in front of the class, and that's fine, and everybody learns a lesson from it. And it's like, how do we fix this? I don't know. Stop telling people what to think. Hello, British media, fuck you all, and start showing people how to think.
Yes.
I mean, our British media is a shit show. It's disgusting.
Pretty dirty, isn't it?
Yeah. But like the number of people who just get their opinions from the newspapers, it's like, have you actually thought this through? No. Let's think about things. So yes, playing
with stuff.
Playing with stuff, breaking the rules.
Doing things because you enjoy it rather than because you have deadlines or reasons or feel you should do something.
Yes.
Have some fun.
But breaking the rules. And when I say breaking the rules, I'm not, disclaimer, I'm not giving you permission to go out and break laws. I'm saying like rules in inverted commas, like the unwritten rules that, boring ass people make about how things should be.
How you should behave.
Yeah. Fuck that. Fuck all that. Break the rules, do stuff for you, and just have a play and see what happens. Let go of this need to produce something amazing for somebody else and give yourself permission to produce something that might actually be amazing because you just play with it. So, and if you would like to come and do that with me, because breaking the rules is like, one of the rules is a non-fiction book has to be 50 to 80,000 words. Who the fuck says? And I just ran Microbook Magic in November with 11 people for the first time, and it was one of the best things I have ever done.
Nice. And
the little micro books that have come out of it have been so cool. One of them, a couple of them have already changed my life because they've got me thinking about things that are really simple. One of them's got me taping my mouth shut at night. Might explain that another day. But yeah, they're brilliant. And so I'm running it again in January, starting January the 10th. You can sign up if you're on my calendar, so moxiebooks.co.uk/calendar. If you sign up for my advent calendar, actually it might be a bit late now. Anyway, you'll find it. You can go and have a look. And there is a 10% discount code if you would like to come and join us in January.
Nice.
If you would like that code and the link, drop me an email, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk. Come and join us in January. Write your microbook in 4 weeks or so. It's going to be awesome. I've already got 11 people, by the way, and there's a maximum of 20.
So get in now.
Yeah, 9 more spaces left. I would love to see more microbooks come out of this. It's very, very cool. Have you got anything else to say, Joe?
No, I think that's it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah, because I think this goes out on Christmas Eve.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Have a lovely one.
If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If this time of year is a little bit difficult for you, then I'm sending you lots of love and hugs, because I know this time of year can be difficult for people. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, then have an amazing weekend. And I hope you get to eat nice food anyway, because we should all do that at the weekend.
We should.
And not at the weekend. Anyway, right. Microbook Magic. The link is in the show notes, or you can email me, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk. If they liked this podcast, what should they do, Joe?
Write a review.
Yes, please.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Share it. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Send a link to your mates.
If you just send this podcast to one other person who might like it, that would be amazing.
Nice.
Thank you. Right, we'll be back. Will we be back next week?
I don't know.
Maybe. Depends
Probably.
if we can be bothered to record a podcast in between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm going to turn into a potato.
Yeah, me too.
And play a lot of Dungeons & Dragons and maybe play a game.
Nice.
Although Jade did offer to lend me a new video. No, Dan offered to lend me a new video game. And I was like, is this going to make me fail my masters? And he was like, yes. And I was like, well, hang on to it until after I've done my masters then.
I, however, am not doing a masters.
Yeah, but you can't because I'll play because I have no willpower at all.
Anyway.
Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Check out the show notes at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast for links to everything we've mentioned in this episode. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you'd like to hear more from Notes in the Margin, you can sign up to get regular emails from Vicky into your inbox at moxiebooks.co.uk/notes in the margin. We'll be back same time next week.